Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for inspired conversations with publisher Linda Joy. On Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
Welcome to Inspired Conversations, my beautiful friends. I'm your hostess, Linda Joy, publisher of Aspire Magazine, publisher at Inspired Living Publishing, and we're super excited. We have our 18th book coming out called Life Reimagined, Women's Stories of Hope, Resilience, and Transformation. I invite you to get on the VIP wait list at life-imagined-book.com. So you know me, you know the kind of guests I love having on this show. It's women who are passionately committed to helping other women live their best lives. And I got to tell you, in the 5.5 years I've been doing this show, the kind of woman that I'm drawn to, the ones I love to work with, support, play, and collaborate with, are kind of, like women like me who have walked the walk, who merge all their life experiences with their professional training to bring their message to life because they're so passionately committed to changing other women's lives. And with me today is a dear friend, certified master life coach and international hypnotherapist, Maureen Melanson. Maureen specializes in supporting women in shifting their mindset and clearing the beliefs around the stories of not feeling good enough. I'm sure you can all relate to that one. Or maybe you can relate to this one, women who are living in constant overwhelm and are carrying the weight of stress and anxiety. Listen, as an entrepreneur of a busy wellness center, Inner Serenity Wellness, since 2010, and listen to this, a mother of 8 children and a grandmother to 3, Maureen knows firsthand the delicate balance it takes for a woman to stay out of overwhelm, honor her commitment to self-care, and to create a life that fulfills her on every level. Welcome, my beautiful friend.
Thank you so much. I really feel honored and blessed to be in this sacred space with you.
Well, you and I have had lots of personal conversations, Maureen, and I just love your dedication to supporting women, whether it's through your in-person center or virtually. You serve women around the world. And one of the things that you love specializing in is working with women and mothers who, as I said in the intro, who are in constant overwhelm, who are chasing the illusion of perfection because they have these unconscious beliefs of not feeling good enough. What led you to this work that you're doing in the world?
Well, because I lived it. I was there. I moved to a small community and I didn't know anybody. I couldn't speak the language, and I was raising our children and being able to manage everything and keep everybody happy and all the balls in the air because you're just not a mom, you're a wife and a sister. And so for me, I had to learn, I'll be honest, the hard way. I didn't know about self-care and about making time for myself. Usually by the time I did make time, I was desperate, which I don't encourage. And I learned that by making time for myself and nurturing my spirit, whatever that meant at the time, sometimes it was a walk, sometimes it was prayer, sometimes it was yoga, whatever, in that moment that I needed. I realized by taking that time to self-nurture, I was the person I wanted to be. I wasn't frustrated and yelling. I mean, that don't get me wrong, that can happen, but I found it happens so much less when I self-nurtured.
Well, I'm sure so many women right now are listening because especially in, I'd say, the last 2 years. We're all in a time of overwhelm and crisis, and a lot of the unknown. So having resources that can support us through those times, and we're going to be talking about that more in a moment. One of the things you also do is hypnobirthing and hypnomothering. And when I visited your website, Maureen, I noticed it's like you have these sacred services that kind of reach women where they are on the journey, from your heart-centered coaching that's for all women to hypnobirthing through the birth process, and then you have it for after, and then you even have hypnomothering for after the baby's born. What led you to get into coaching and specifically into the hypnobirthing and hypnomothering fields?
Well, when I was having our children, I really didn't notice what was available. I was naive. I just thought, oh, you go in, you have your baby, you go home, everything just kind of falls into place. I was very ignorant. I didn't know you needed to prepare mentally, emotionally, and understand, especially if you're birthing in a hospital, how things work. Even the language that was used. I'll tell you a story. The nurse came in and called me a prenup, and I looked at my husband and I said, "What is that? Like, do I have something wrong?" And I mean, I was 24 when I had my first baby. And come to find out, it just means I'm a first time mom. I mean, I felt silly at the time when I found out, but it just goes to show when you're in that moment, even a language can affect how you feel emotionally when you don't understand what's going on around you. And my experience is, I think you go in with some expectations, and when they don't turn out that way, you kind of ask yourself some questions like, what could I have done differently? Um, you know, in my soul, my heart, I didn't feel that birthing should be that way. And I made a promise to myself when the time came that I would help other mothers prepare themselves so that they could have a really positive and beautiful and gentle, calm birth that they are looking for. Um, and then in doing that, I wanted to be able to support mothers after they had their baby, because you create this beautiful bond and connection with these families. And I grow to, really love and care about them. And so I wanted to be able to support them after, because a lot of times, even myself, when I brought my baby home, um, again, naive, I thought, oh, you just bring your baby home, everything's good. And I had waited 5 years to have our first baby. And when I met my husband in the hallway when he was less than a week old, we were both crying. The baby was crying, my son was crying, I'm crying, and my husband's looking at me like, what the heck? What is going on? And I just didn't feel like myself. I don't know, food tastes differently, things felt differently. And I was just so confused by everything. And my mom wasn't there to, like some women have their mothers there, but that wasn't an option for me. So I just didn't know where to look for support. I didn't know how to ask for support. I thought if I asked that there was something wrong with me, that I was supposed to be able to do it all by myself. Um, so, you kind of get yourself into that mind thoughts and stories in your head that, oh, you should be able to do it on your own and, figure it out and not having those resources. So when I started opening myself up to what I could do to serve other mothers and support them and learned about hypnomothering and how there was just it just helped you prepare better. It helped you become aware of the changes that was going to happen, that these are normal things that happen. But when you're living it and you don't know it, it doesn't feel normal. You feel like you're the exception and not the rule. And it's nice to know that there are other women who are at home going through the exact same thing you are. And I wanted to be able to help those mothers and those women who are at home feeling overwhelmed having a crying infant and not asking for support and knowing, hey, it's okay.
And I think that's key too. That woman, we struggle to ask for support, whether you're a mother or not. It's such an important um, key turning point in our personal and spiritual development journey when we can allow ourselves to receive, right? So I love, again, that your personal journey with having 8 children led you to the transformational work you're doing today. I love stories like that because my own journey, everything that I do in the world, all was birthed from my own struggles as a woman and entrepreneur over the last 30 years that I've been doing this. So for you, I know a lot of what you help clients focus on, especially in your heart-centered coaching programs and offerings, is how to come back into the heart, right? Because when I know firsthand, if we're in overwhelm, fear, self-doubt, etc., we're not in our heart because our heart is our truth. Our heart is our center. When we're experiencing all that, we've become disconnected from that, and we're up in the negative. I call mine negative Nelly chatter. So is that why you always begin with helping women intentionally drop down into their heart, help them clear their mind? So let's talk about that for a moment. You know what? We're going to take a quick break. I just noticed the time because I'm so enthralled with this conversation. Let's take a break so I don't have to interrupt you. And then when we come back, you can dive into responding, Maureen. I'll be back in a moment with my special guest, Maureen Melanson of InnerSerenityWellness.com. We'll be right back.
This is OTRFM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Inspiration for a Woman's Soul. Aspire Magazine, inspiring and supporting women on the path of self-discovery. Claim your free digital subscription today, which includes access to thousands of dollars of personal development bonus gifts from Team Inspiration partners. Claim your Aspire Magazine subscription today at subscribetoaspire.com.
Hey America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America in your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Hi everyone, this is Shay Parker, the host of Best of the Best, which airs live right here on IOM Radio every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm super excited to bring you expert guest hosts, spiritual discussions, free psychic readings, and so much more. I can promise that you will not want to miss this one-of-a-kind, fun, yet touching, down-to-earth show. Join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on OTRFM. This is Shay Parker, and I can't wait to see you there.
This is OTRFM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Welcome back. You're listening to Inspired Conversations. With me today is Maureen Melanson of InnerSerenityWellness.com. So Maureen, right before the break, we were talking about the importance of dropping down into our heart and having a resource or a ritual that we can do at any moment to be able to bring us to that place so we can come out of the chatter of the mind. So talk about why you feel that's so important.
Well, when your life takes on so many different roles as a mother and wife and then an entrepreneur, I was, I guess, desperate and need to find that balance. Where's that balance? How does that work? And because family, you want to make sure that you are, I call it aligned with myself so that I'm connected. And when I've gotten into my head, and I have, and this is why I know and feel it's so important, is that my head starts giving me this talk. And it's not always what, it's that self-talk, and it doesn't always serve me. But at the same time, it creates an awareness of something that I need to take care of. So when I stop and take a few minutes to get out of my head and connect with my heart, it grounds me. It grounds me to the truth and not the garbage sometimes that my mind is carrying on with, or the story that I've allowed myself to believe, or the false belief system that I've created, whether it's from a past belief or a belief that just came up. Maybe it's a new step I've taken either as an entrepreneur or a mother. I've just become an empty nest, and that's a new journey for me. And there's like, what's that going to look like? How's that going to feel? And really allowing myself to feel the emotions, instead of my old self would have just said, part of life, step up, let's go, and just keep going on. And I realized that that doesn't really serve me, and it doesn't serve others either, because then those buildup of emotions tend to eat away at us. So when I connect into my heart and allow myself to process whatever I feel in that moment, if it's um, sad that I'm going to miss them, if it's fear maybe of what my life is going to look like, or concerned about, what is my life going to look like with no children at home, or the dynamics of my relationship with my children now that they're all out of the house, the dynamics with my husband. So there's a lot of things that are going on, that if I just stayed in my head, in which I've done that before, it just didn't serve me, and I just felt overwhelmed and exhausted, and I couldn't find the answers. And as soon as I took time to go for a walk and breathe and reconnect, and connect into my heart, it just allowed me to know the truth about, yes, that's going to be different, but life changes, and you get answers. And I learned to connect with my intuition as well. When you're heart centered, you can hear your intuition. Some people call it gut instinct, some people call it mother's instinct, some people just call it there's different names. But when you connect with your instinct and trust in it, and that was a big thing for me, trusting my instincts, it really allowed me to just grow and find the balance. And it didn't seem like I had to work at it, because I trusted, and the choices that I trusted in the decisions that I made, and in my heart, they were the right ones.
It's so beautiful. And what is some of the things that you guide your clients to do? And, because there are many women that struggle with taking time for themselves. They're like, oh, Maureen, I just don't have time for this. Or I want to say, until you make time for you, you can't be your best for your spouse, your partner, your career, or your children. So what are some of the things, if a woman is really struggling to even know how to take the first step to self-nurturing, self-care, what guidance would you give?
Well, it's funny you say that, because I just actually messaged a mom that said, oh my God, I just don't have time to take care of myself. So it's almost kismet that, and my message to her is that then you make time, you schedule it in, just like you would a hair appointment or a dentist appointment. Because once it's scheduled in, then you then can make it happen. That's kind of the beginning. Um, and then it needs to become a must for you, because you know in your heart you want to show up as the person that you want to be. And an example, just to kind of, my daughter was, she's got a lot of things going on, and she called me yesterday, and she was feeling frustrated and stressed and overwhelmed. And her daughter was whiny and clingy. And she said, I just don't know what's wrong with her. I said, so how's your mental and emotional state? And she just stopped and paused. And it was like, oh, I never considered. Our children pick up what is going on emotionally with us. If we're stressed, if we're overwhelmed, they may not understand why they feel that way, but they definitely pick up that emotion. Um, Same with a brand new mom who brought home a little sweet baby girl. The baby's been really crying, colicky. And I went to see her and I said, so, how are you doing? She goes, I said, are you getting any sleep? She said, no. I said, well, first priority in is first ask for help. So connect with your I said, as a mother, a grandmother, I said, I promise you that was the best phone call you'll make for the grandparents is them getting to spend time with their grandbabies. So even if one grandmother takes care of the older one, and then the other one comes to the home and takes care of the baby while you sleep, take that time every day, and you'll see the shift within you because then something that feels so big when you're tired and overwhelmed, when you're rested, is like, oh, yeah, I got this.
Yes, it's so true because I I was one of those women, and I still struggle with it sometimes. It was hard for me to ask for help, and after doing 30 years of inner work, and I'm sure you can relate to this, Maureen, it came down to I wasn't afraid to ask for help. I had a false belief underneath of two things, actually. One, I wasn't worthy of help, and two, that I should be strong enough to handle anything that comes my way. What bullshit, right? I
Absolutely.
I carried that for so long, and so that's why it's important, through Aspire magazine, through my publishing company, through the radio show, that I bring on guests and share content that breaks those myths, because I think that we need, as women, to be able to receive so that we can keep our cup full, so that we can be the light and the love that we were created to be, right? In our families, our communities. But it's what you just said with that newborn's mom. Um, she was feeling so overwhelmed and wasn't asking. And for so many women, it's not even on their mind that they could ask because they have the programming of whatever false beliefs they carry. So I love that you guided her. It's almost like you gave her a permission slip to ask.
Yeah, because when they say it takes a community, it does. And I didn't understand that when I was raising our children. I didn't know how to ask. And I caused myself a lot of heartache and a lot of undue stress. It's, you know, sometimes you wish you could skip those parts, but it's by my living what I lived, I can easily recognize it in somebody else. I go, yep, that was me not asking for help. And because I didn't, I became overtired and overwhelmed. And meeting my husband in the hallway after waiting 5 years for a baby. In when my daughter took time off the next day, she took time to just go to the beach and relax with her daughter. She had a beautiful day. And I spoke with her earlier and she said, Mom, it's so important to reset. And I said, yes, yes, it is. And I said, I'm so proud of you for acknowledging and accepting that reset button for us. We all need it so that we can show up and be that light for the people in our lives. What energy we bring, what emotions we bring into our home and about how we feel, it affects everybody around us. It affects our our relationships with our children, it affects our children, and it affects our partners, and it affects our friends.
It's so true, and something I talk a lot about in my Inspired Living University and other private groups I have, and in a lot of times with my clients, is we are all born with a sacred gift. This is my personal belief system. That sacred gift is our divine energy source, right? That's our life force energy. The body that we came with is just a physical manifestation, but that divine life force is ours. It was a gift from whatever you believe as your divine source, right?
Mhm.
And we have one role, core role, is to take care of it, to honor it, to keep it shining, to keep it elevated, to keep it healthy, because that light is exactly what you said in different words, Maureen, is what ripples out and creates the energy of our home, our family, our relationships. And it took me, I'm going to be 59 this year. It took me probably until about 8 years ago to see that in that way. And it changed everything for me. I go, that's my one self-care first. I start with my spiritual energy and then my physical body. Because without a woman taking care of those two things, the rest is going to suffer. There's no other way around it. So I think that's so important. I just see this ripple, like from a woman, so much love could ripple out. But if we don't give ourselves that love, that time, our light dims. And when that happens, so doesn't our life. Our life dims, our relationships dim. So beautiful insight that you just shared this, because it's so important. And we're going to take another break, Maureen, and we'll be back in a moment. And I want to invite everyone to visit Maureen at innerserenitywellness.com. We'll be back in a moment.
This is OTRFM, part of the IOM radio network.
Are you ready to live a life of self-acceptance, inner serenity, and fulfillment? Many women, especially moms, live in a constant state of overwhelm, stress, and anxiety, and are chasing the illusion of perfection due to unconscious beliefs of not feeling good enough. It's time to stop the cycle. Maureen Melanson, certified master life coach and international hypnotherapist, passionately supports women to quiet the chatter of their mind and release the stories, scripts, and false beliefs, keeping them from hearing their inner truth and living their highest potential. As an entrepreneur of the Busy Wellness Center, Inner Serenity Wellness, and the mother of 8 children, Maureen knows firsthand the delicate balance for women to overcome overwhelm, commit to self-care, and to create a fulfilling life. And she's ready to support you on your journey to inner serenity. Learn more at innerserenitywellness.com.
OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
This is Terry Van Horn, and I want to invite you to join me for my weekly radio show, Healing Light, on OMTimes Radio, every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Healing Light, we want to bring love, light, and blessings into your world. You can find out more about us at www.healinglightonline.com. Blessings.
Me, a cat, moving in with a new human. It took a little getting used to. She has these weird games she likes to play, like this giant feather. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. It's almost like she thinks I enjoy it. But seeing how much fun she gets out of it, well, I guess it makes it all worth it. Humans.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
This is OTRFM, part of the IOM radio network.
Welcome back, my friends. We are here with Linda Joy and my special guest, Maureen Melanson. Maureen, some of the things you talk about, in our previous conversations and what I see you post online, is a lot about, intentionally choosing the things that you can do to care for yourself. One of the things I talked with you about is about the power of intentions and posting your intentions in different places. Could we talk about that a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. I learned that it's one of the stories I kind of mention to my clients when they come in. Alice in Wonderland, when she goes down the rabbit hole and she asks and Robert asked her, "Where do you want to go?" And she said, "Well, anywhere. I don't know." And then he said, "Well, anywhere is fine." And I thought, that's the perfect example of our mind when it has no direction. It just goes anywhere. But when we take or make or choose to make time to set an intention, and I do this for myself on a personal level, my relationship with my husband, I set out an intention with what I'd like my relationship to look like with my children. Um, and then I do that as well professionally. What is my mission? What is my goal professionally? How I support and care for the women and mothers that come into my life. And when I became clear about it, it just everything just flowed. It's like you have this congruency within your mind and your body are now working together to get you where you want to go. So you're unconsciously making choices that you might not even be aware of that are moving you towards your intention. And that might look like, more quality time with my partner or my husband. Um, it might look like instead of um, buying birthday gifts, we now make it a point to make memories. What's a memory we can do to celebrate your birthday? So there's a shift in how I approach and look at things because I've and it's something that you can keep close by that you can look at. And the wonderful thing about your intention is that you can always shift and adjust it as you need. And even my daughter, she had the mindset or the belief that she couldn't find a partner. And I said, "Well, then I guess you're right." She just looked at me like, "What?" I said, "Well, that's what you believe. You're absolutely right." And I said, "Have you ever thought about writing down what your perfect partner would be? What qualities would that person have? What um, what beliefs or what things about would matter to you in meeting the right person?" And it's funny. She wrote it down and she put it away. And I said, "Every once in a while, take it out, have a look." I said, "It's not written in stone. You can always adjust it or change it." And she's now met her forever person. So definitely works.
I love stories like that. And you know me, all about manifesting intentional living. So this kind of stuff gets me all juiced up talking about because I've used it like you have in
Absolutely.
my own life to transform my life from single welfare mom, high school dropout, and runaway to who I am today. And I know it's because I set intentions, I journaled, and one of the other things you always share is putting them in a place where you can see them every day.
Hmm.
And I think that's so important. I think once you had shared about putting it near the mirror, um, so that you can see your intentions. And I love that your daughter began following your guidance. Sometimes doesn't it take them a while, Maureen, to follow our wisdom? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think back to when I was those ages, and I'm like, yeah, I did the same thing. But when now here she is, finding her forever love. So when you first started, setting your intentions and tapping into your inner wisdom. In other words, when you stepped onto this path, even maybe before you became, certified master life coach and hypnotherapist, how did you begin the journey to trusting what you were receiving, hearing, downloading, whatever word you use, to how did you begin to trust? Did you take baby steps?
Oh, absolutely. The thing is that I guess it's not that anyone really teaches you about your intuition or your gut instinct. And I didn't realize there was times that I was using it, but there's times that I doubted it. And then someone told me along the way that, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And that scared me. And I thought, so what can I do? I asked myself, what can I do to kind of reconnect with my instinct and listen to it and trust in it? And I just made that a priority for me, made that having that quiet time, whether it's sitting down in the for me, it's first thing in the morning. Because if I don't make the time, and I say make the time to do it, then it just doesn't happen. The day kind of takes on a life of its own. So in the mornings, I would get up. If the kids would get up at 6:30, I would get up at 5:30, and I would have this quiet time to just be and to have thoughts. And I'm going to tell you, as a mother, entrepreneur, if you don't make that time to kind of be quiet with your thoughts, you can't hear anything because it's the kids, it's everybody just coming. There's so many people coming at you. And to be honest, it came out of desperation because I used to wake up with the kids, and the first thing you'd hear is mom, 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 and it overwhelmed me. And I said, I can't do this. I can't live and be so frustrated every morning. What am I going to do? And that was one of the first decisions I made. It's a must for me to get up before they do and take time for myself and connect with myself and connect with learn how to connect with my intuition. It's a practice. It's doing it every day. And it doesn't mean in the beginning I didn't trip up, because I certainly did. And it was like, and then I'd be so mad at myself, and I'd go through this beating myself up. Oh my God, I didn't listen. I didn't trust my instincts. And look where I am. And I'd feel so frustrated. And then I was like, okay, learning curve, Maureen, the old me would have beat myself up a lot longer. The new me goes, okay, so you messed up. It's okay. Let's go back and reconnect.
And you're speaking so many women's truth, right? It's taking those baby steps, falling down, getting back up. And there's something else you said. It's about putting it in your schedule and making space. That one step was what really supported me in creating new supportive habits. For me, I'm a visual person. So seeing it in my calendar, and I had to play with language because I connect with words and they have energy to me. So if I just put something like go to the gym in my phone, right, that would energetically not turn me on when I saw it. But I didn't know that. I kept saying, why am I not doing it? It's in my calendar. It was when I found my soul language. So all my stuff, I have been using these hashtags for years, is in the morning, like you know me, I'm an early morning girl. My phone says hashtag sacred self-care. For date night, it says hashtag sacred couple time. For family events and spending time with the little goddess, it's hashtag sacred family time. Now, can you feel the energy difference if you saw that in your phone, Maureen?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I needed to speak my language. And so I have clients and friends who incorporated that and found their language, right? Some like to put emojis there, but I think when you see it in your calendar, as you said about creating space for yourself, it has to use language that resonates with you, your vision for your future. Because the other way didn't work for me. But I love that you had to go through those dark times of figuring out what you needed. And you became very clear that, hey, I need this morning time before I see anyone else. And I've known you for a while now. So we've had conversations about how sacred that time is for you. And that's how you stay grounded in your truth as a woman, correct?
Absolutely. And you're right, language is so important. I had to figure out my own language that worked for me as well. For some people, getting up and going to the gym, like you said, that doesn't light them up. And I think sometimes we forget, what did we used to do that we loved and enjoyed and, didn't make time for. But when I started, like you, putting things in that going for a walk, or I'm committed to doing 30 minutes of yoga. And sometimes in the beginning it was 10 minutes. I started out small, small steps, and 10 minutes of yoga, commit for 30 days, see if you can do that. And you know what? 10 minutes, I thought, oh, what's 10 minutes going to do for anybody? But for me, the 10 minutes that I took to nurture myself was amazing. And I thought, you know what? I'd like to add to that. And then I worked my way up to 15 minutes. And I mean, I chose yoga, but I mean, everybody has something that nurtures them. It could be meditation, it could be journaling. I love journaling. And I really feel like when I write my thoughts, especially before I go to bed, um, is to release everything, especially if it was a challenging day. Maybe things happen with the kids or my husband or whatever. And when I journal before I go to bed, it was like this release that I just gave it up. You can, to the divine or whatever, Mother Earth, whatever feels right for you. It was such a release at night just to let it go and then start my next day fresh.
I love how you close out the day, Maureen. That's beautiful. To me, I always, I used to do circles here at my house, God, going to be 12 years ago. I think Aspire was still in print. And I'd bring the women out to our beach, and I'd have them write a letter, and this is just another tool I've used. I had to write a letter that nobody was going to see. And it was everything that was weighing them down. If they wanted to bitch, moan, complain, if they were sad, put it all in the letter. And they sealed it, and then they came to the next circle. And then we each burned it one at a time. And as they burned it kind of reminds me of that visual that you just described to us. I said, whoever your divine source is, see their hands up above in the sky. And as the smoke goes up, envision it going into your divine source's hands. And hear their message that this is no longer yours to carry, my child. I've got this. And just that simple ritual of letting go of our grief, our pain, to something bigger than us, isn't it so healing?
Yes, amazing. It has been my life source, is that ability to make it a point to let it go. There's a lot of things that go on in our lives, and only until I was willing to release and let it go did my life shift and change. And we think we're doing it for them or for that person or for the others. But really, the honest to God truth is that when you let go of any anger, resentment, any of those emotions that don't serve inside you, it nurtures you.
Oh, yes, it does. Maureen, we're going to take our last break. We're going to come back for our last 10 minutes. This is you're sharing so much wisdom and insights about your journey, but also about the tools that you use. So I want to dive deeper into that when we come back for our last segment. So I'll be back in a moment with Maureen Melanson of InnerSerenityWellness.com. Be sure to check out her website, and we'll be back in a moment.
This is OTRFM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
We can all use a little more peace and joy in our lives. Don't you agree? Counselor, best-selling author, and self-nurturing expert Kelly Grimes of CultivatingPeaceandJoy.com is passionate about empowering overwhelmed and exhausted women to live with more peace, joy, and meaning through the practice of self-nurturing. Through her experience working with individuals, speaking, providing workshops, and teaching professional and leadership development to forward-thinking organizations, Kelly knows that nurturing peace in the world begins from the inside out. That's why she created the free Cultivating Peace and Joy mobile app that brings you beautiful self-nurturing reminders, guided meditations, empowering practice tools, and daily prompts with an inspiring question to guide your daily self-nurturing practice. Download your free Cultivating Peace and Joy mobile app today at CultivatingPeaceandJoy.com.
Share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
This is OTR FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Welcome back, beautiful souls. I'm so glad that you're here with me and my special guest, Maureen Melanson, today. So, Maureen, in the last segment, I want to talk about, in your work as a master life coach and hypnotherapist, what is a pattern that you see time and time again that women are struggling with? Is it stress and anxiety? Is it overwhelm? What is the core, I guess, I don't want to say symptom in a way, right, that they're struggling with?
Well, the overwhelm and the stress and the anxiety, there's about getting to the source. And it comes down to their belief system, what they believe, their false beliefs, and they believe it to be the truth. And a lot of that stems from self-worth, how they feel about themselves. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve. If I was this, then I would deserve. And it's about healing those places in their heart and in their spirit that eliminates and gets rid of the false belief, the lies, or the BS, however you want to put it, and so that they can acknowledge the real truth about who they are and that they're precious and that they were created. And I said, if you were to see a newborn baby just born, would you think that baby was flawed or imperfect or not lovable? And they go, well, no. I mean, it's beautiful and it's precious. I said, but that's you. That's you. You just grown. You're that precious gift, and sometimes, people don't know how to treat precious gifts. It's not that they did it in purpose or intentionally or whatever. They just do the best that they can. And even as a mother, am I perfect? Have I made mistakes along the way? Absolutely. But that doesn't make that child, that infant, that person any less precious or miraculous. When you think about how the human body is created, the heart, the lungs, every cell, all the different organs, the brain, I mean, to me, it is a miracle. And when I look around, I see people as being miraculous and miracles, and that they are a gift to this earth and this place. And I just want them to see and know that about themselves, because it gives you wings when you can love and accept all the different parts of you.
So true. So many of us have lost the light that we came here with, right? And suddenly, instead of remembering our light, these layers of false beliefs, as you were just talking about, begin running up the show, right? Begin playing in the background. We don't even know it. And so I think it's so important that you work with women to help them clear that, because I know you're all about, heart-centered living. And I want to invite everyone, so I don't forget, please be sure to check out Maureen's offerings at innerserenitywellness.com. Just go to the services page and you'll see she has heart-centered life coaching for women, hypnobirthing coaching, as well as hypnomothering, postpartum coaching, and also the Goulding process, sleep talk for children. I want to share all that. I know I normally don't do that, but it's so important that you know that there is support waiting for you. There is a path to reducing overwhelm, to coming back home to yourself, and that's getting and accepting support, right? Whether it's through Maureen as a master life coach and hypnotherapist, or calling your mom up to help with the child, whatever that is, until you start opening to receive help, life can't change. And my reason for having Maureen here, well, one of many reasons, is we will both want to remind you that you are worthy of all that.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know, and I know you're passionate about that too, is helping women see, own, and see and own their value as a divine being. I like to say, I'm divinely imperfect
Hmm.
because the divine essence of me is divine, right? But I have if I was just the divine source, of course, I would be perfect. But as humans, I have both. I have as we all do, the divine source within me, but I'm also here in this human body. So I say I'm divinely imperfect, and I always take divinely imperfect action. Doesn't that flip the script? Just hearing that word, it's okay. We're not here to be perfect. There is no perfect.
For sure. And that's, as a mother and a wife and an entrepreneur, there's so many journeys that I've lived, and that in my heart, I want to make it easier for other mothers and women not to have to take a shortcut into the learning, I guess, instead of having to go through the long process. I felt like, my journey was I went through the long process so that I'm able to give shortcuts to all these other mothers and women out there so that they don't have to experience all the heartache and all the things that I had to, that they can take a shortcut. So, and
Mm, that's so beautiful. What a mission, my friend. What a mission.
thank you. I love it. And like I said, the things that I attracted that you see are things that I struggled with personally that I thought, this would really help someone. Whether it was hypnobirthing or hypnomothering and sleep talk, supporting children. Because once we have our children and they're growing up, um, a lot of times I had the challenge was finding a natural resource that could nurture my children's self-esteem, so maybe they too could have a shortcut, to make things easier. Isn't, as mothers and women, you know don't we always want to make things a little bit easier for the next person so that maybe they don't have to go through the same things that we did? So
Yeah, I like to say I'm so grateful for all the guides and supporters who've stepped into my life over the years. We're not meant to walk it alone. And if any of us, can make life easier for someone else, I believe it's our role. And as an entrepreneur, you know me, Maureen, I'm so passionate. We're here with a spiritual mission, and we're here to transform lives. And who are we not to, if we have a tool or a resource that can support someone on their journey? So I want to thank you, Maureen, for joining me, for the work that you're doing in the world. And I want to invite everyone again to innerserenitywellness.com. Maureen has a free gift there, but also check out her services page for some of the programs that we just talked about. And of course, my friends, join me next Tuesday for another inspired conversation. And Maureen, thank you, my friend. I appreciate you being here with me today.
thank you so much for the invitation. I feel very blessed to have shared this sacred space with you. And I feel so grateful that I got to share this time with you, and that all of the women that you touch by what you do. So thank you so much for what you do, and thank you for our friendship. It's really
Yeah.
appreciated.
You're more than welcome. I'm so glad that we're in each other's lives, my friend.
Me too.
So until next time, everyone, choose love, choose joy, choose happiness, my friends.
Thanks for listening to Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. Join our sacred space every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern and meet leading female visionaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. Inspired Conversations with Linda Joy is a soulful venue where guests share the obstacles they've overcome, along with wisdom and lessons learned on their personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic and soulful living.